The invite hit the inbox on a freezing Tuesday morning, 2347. General Amara Okonkwo read it 3 times. She had to be sure. The Galactic Council, the same people who treated humanity like stray dogs for 80 years, finally wanted peace talks. They wanted to treat us as equals. Amara was built like a fortress. 50 years of service, gray hair, and skin that had seen too much Martian sun. Her troops called her the Iron Mother. She was tough as nails, but she loved her soldiers like they were her own blood. She didn't waste a second. She called the others. General Liu Ming picked up first. Liu was the opposite of Amara. Small, quiet, with eyes that saw everything. She ran diplomatic security. She didn't win wars with guns. She won them with plans. Then came General Sophia Reyes, the kid of the group, only 42. But she ran Terran intelligence. If a secret was whispered anywhere in the galaxy, Sophia heard it. "You got the invite," Amara said. "It wasn't a question." "They want to talk about the Orion Spur," Liu said. "Full territorial rights." "That's the offer." Quote, Sophia looked worried. "It feels wrong. They've blocked us for 3 decades. Why change now?" Quote, "Maybe they finally woke up," Leo suggested. "Trade is up. Our tech sharing is working." Amara stayed quiet. She knew the triumvirate, the Volanth, the Skorax, the Ymiri. They'd run the galaxy for 10,000 years. To them, humans were just loud, emotional, aggressive monkeys. "We go," Amara decided, "but we go heavy. Full security." 2 weeks later, they stepped onto Nexus Prime. The place was a monster, a station bigger than a moon, floating in the dead center of Council space. It was beautiful, and it was terrifying. Towers of white crystal reaching for stars they couldn't touch. A Volant diplomat named Katsor met them. Blue, skin. Too many teeth when he smiled. "Welcome, generals," he said. His voice was slippery. "Right this way." They walked through miles of marble hallways. Statues of alien heroes everywhere. But Amara noticed something. In 80 years of membership, there wasn't a single statue of a human. Not one. They entered the chamber. It wasn't a meeting room. It was an arena. Thousands of aliens watched from the stands. At the far end, on 3 giant thrones, sat the leaders. The Volanth Minister, the massive, scaled Skorax Chancellor, and the Ymiri Hierarch, a being of light in robes who never moved. Amara felt it in her gut. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a courtroom. "Generals of Earth," the Volanth Minister boomed. "You are accused of war crimes." The words hit the room like a bomb. Liao's hand twitched toward her sidearm, but security drones dropped from the ceiling instantly. "This is insane," Sophia said, keeping her voice steady. She was scanning the room, counting exits. There were none. "We demand evidence." The Skorax Chancellor laughed. It sounded like grinding stones. "Evidence? Your ships burned our colonies. 3,000 dead. You ordered it." Quote, "That is a lie," Amara's voice cracked like a whip. "Earth has never fired on civilians. This is a setup." The Ymiri Hierarch spoke through a machine. "The verdict is reached. Guilty." "You can't do this," Leo shouted. "The Galactic Charter guarantees a trial." Quote, "The Charter," the Volanth sneered, "is for civilized species. The sentence is death. Immediate. It happened too fast. Guards swarmed them, weapons stripped, comms smashed. They were forced to their knees in the center of the room." Amara looked at her friends. Liu was stone-faced. Sophia was still calculating, trying to solve a puzzle that had no answer. They were alone. "This is murder!" Amara roared at the cameras. "Remember this! Humanity will remember!" Quote, "Broadcast it," the Volanth Minister ordered. "Let the galaxy see what happens to dogs that bite." The feed went live. Every ship, every planet, every station. On Earth, Admiral James Harlow was drinking his coffee. He watched the screen. He saw the 3 women who built the modern world executed, shot down like criminals. In the final second, Amara looked right into the lens. Her eyes burned. She didn't speak, but Harlow heard her loud and clear. "Avenge us." The screen went black. Harlow sat there. The sun moved across the floor. His coffee went cold. He didn't blink. Then, he stood up. He walked to his desk. He called the president. He called the fleets. 3 hours later, Harlow stood in front of the United Earth Assembly. The room was packed. Behind him, The faces of the three generals were frozen on a massive screen. 80 years, Harlow said. His voice was barely a whisper, but the room was dead silent. We played by their rules. We held back. We wanted to be good neighbors. He looked around the room. Today they murdered our best. They called them criminals. They killed them without a trial. Harlow's voice dropped an octave. Harder, colder. They think we're dangerous? They think we're violent? They have no idea. He stood tall. I say we show them. I say we take off the gloves. I call for a vote. Total war. No talking. No mercy. Not until the debt is paid. The vote was unanimous. The galaxy expected screaming. They expected humans to riot, to protest, to beg. Instead, they got silence. 3 days later, every human ship in alien space just turned around. They didn't fire. They didn't threaten. They just left. Embassies emptied out. Trade ships dumped their cargo and engaged warp drives. It was a ghost town. The Volanth minister laughed. Cowards, he told the others. We showed teeth, and they ran. The Skorax agreed. They'll be back in a month, begging for food. Only the Amiri hierarch seemed worried. His lights flickered. Humans don't surrender, he whispered. In all the history books, they die first. They never just leave. Behind the borders of the Sol system, humanity wasn't hiding. It was building. Admiral Harlow stood on the bridge of Olympus Station. Status, he barked. 37 shipyards at 100% capacity, Enade replied. We're printing 12 destroyers a day. The secret yards in the asteroid belt? They're online. And the weapons? Quote. The Prometheus protocol is active, sir. Harlow closed his eyes for a second. Prometheus. The weapons they swore never to build. Planet crackers. Star killers. The nightmare stuff. What about the people? Quote. We stopped recruitment, sir. We can't handle the numbers. Everyone wants to fight. Everyone saw the broadcast. The aliens made a mistake. They thought fear would break humanity. Instead, it gave them focus. Captain Yuki Tanaka stood on the deck of the Retribution. A new ship, a monster ship. She touched the photo of her sister, who had died guarding General Liu. Ready the crew, she said. Her voice was ice. When we move fast. 3 weeks of silence passed. The galaxy got nervous. Then the message came, one burst, sent on every frequency. No threats, no speeches. Just 3 things. Coordinates, the Volanth border world, Kethvar. Time, 7 days. And 3 words, we are coming. 5:30 to 7 o'clock, the Volanth fall. 7 days later, the sky above Kethvar tore open. Admiral Keithmos of the Volanth fleet was waiting. He had 2,000 ships. He felt good. Contacts! His sensor officer screamed. Exiting hyperspace! Quote. Count? Keithmos asked confidently. 10,000, sir. Keithmos froze. 10,000? That was impossible. That was more ships than the entire council combined. The human fleet spilled out like a swarm of angry hornets. And in the middle, dreadnoughts. Massive hulks of armor that shouldn't have been possible to build so fast. They were hiding it, the officer whispered. All these years, they were holding back. Attack formation, Keithmos yelled. But the humans didn't fight like soldiers, they fought like water. They flowed around the Volanth lines. They jammed the comms with heavy metal music and static. Then came the boarding pods. Humans didn't just shoot ships, they boarded them. They cut through the hulls. Captain Tanaka led the charge on Keithmos's flagship. She moved through the smoke like a phantom. 40 minutes. That's all it took. Tanaka kicked the weapon out of Keithmos's hand. She pulled off her helmet. Admiral, she said, your fleet is gone. Your war is over. How? Keithmos gasped. You were primitives, quote. We were polite, Tanaka corrected. There's a difference. The humans didn't stop there. They took the systems, but they didn't kill civilians. Instead, they hijacked the news feeds. They broadcast the truth, the evidence Sophia Reyes had hidden away. Proof that the generals were innocent. Proof the council lied. The Volanth government didn't fall to bullets, it fell to its own people rioting in the streets. Harlow met Keithmos in a cell. Why spare us? Keithmos asked. You could have burned our world. Because we aren't you, Harlow said. This isn't revenge. It's justice. We want the leaders, the ones who gave the order. The Skorax won't break so easy, Keithmos warned. Harlow opened the door. I know. They're next. The Skorax didn't surrender. They fought with claws and fury. The battle for the Skorax border was a meat grinder, ships ramming ships. But humanity had adapted. They took the Volanth tech, improved it, and turned it against the lizards. It ended when a Skorax general named Krath realized his leaders were leading them to extinction. He dragged the Chancellor out in chains and handed him to Harlow. Take him, Krath spat. He has no honor. 2 down, 1 to go. The Ymiri, the Ancient Ones. They waited at the threshold, a narrow corridor of space. 7,000 ships. The most advanced tech in history. This is it, Harlow told the fleet. The final push. For Okonkwo, for Lyo, for Reyes. The battle was a nightmare. The Ymiri weapons sliced through human armor like butter. Ships died by the hundreds. But humanity had a secret weapon, the Lazarus Protocol. Autonomous drones swarmed the wreckage of destroyed human ships, welding them back together, bringing weapons back online. The dead ships started shooting again. It broke the Ymiri's minds. They believed death was the end. Seeing the dead fight, it terrified them. Their lines shattered. Harlow marched into the great chamber of the Ymiri. He didn't bring an army, just a squad. The Supreme Hierarch sat there, defeated. You win, the alien said. We surrender. You will take the galaxy now? Quote. We don't want your galaxy, Harlow said, tired. We just want the men who killed our friends. Guards took the council away. The war was over. 1 year later, Nexus Prime was quiet. A new memorial stood in the center plaza. 3 statues. Stone faces looking at the stars. Admiral Harlow, wearing civilian clothes, walked up to the base. He looked old. Tired. He placed 3 flowers on the stone. We brought you home, he whispered. Mission accomplished. He looked around. Aliens and humans were walking together, talking, respecting each other. Humanity had proved its point. We can be the best friends you ever had, or the nightmare that never ends. The galaxy would never forget the names. Okonkwo, Liu, Reyes. And they would never, ever underestimate Earth again.